Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final episode, part 4 of Ash and Ruin, our Vampire the Masquerade series set in Depression-era Chicago. Now, I know what you all are thinking. You can't see me right now. That is intentional. I did a special thing this evening that'll be revealed at an appropriate moment, but while we're waiting on that, let's go around and meet everybody. Let's start out with Kelly. Kelly, who are you and who are you playing this evening?
I am Kelly, mostly known as the Opera Geek, and I'm playing Mev. Only Mev. No other names. Nope.
No other identity, nothing, no dark and sordid past, nothing. Okay, all right, yeah, it's cool. Justice.
Yes. Okay. Hi. I am Justice, and tonight I'm playing Malkavian Henry Darling.
What's on the ceiling, Henry?
Oh, it's not the ceiling. It's higher than the ceiling, but also lower.
Okay, that's unsettling. Michelle, who are you and who are you playing this evening?
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm playing Rose this evening, and I'm pretty sure what's below and above the ceiling is just called hell at this point.
And all around you, too. Really, just everywhere. Right? Yeah, okay. The one, the only B. Dave Walters.
First, congratulations on reaching a high enough level of obfuscate that you no longer show up on technology.
I'm proud of myself. Thank you.
It's an achievement and an accomplishment.
Enoch taught me.
Yeah, he did. And that's who I'm playing as Runner Enoch. Can get anybody in anywhere and get anything out if the price is right.
Again, there's a joke in there. But
I said what I said.
Last but certainly not least, Cynthia.
Hey everyone, I'm Cynthia Marie, and tonight I am playing the La Sombra Lucretia Voja.
Welcome, Kindred. I'm so excited to have you here for the thrilling conclusion of our tale. When we last left everybody, who remembers what was going on? Where we were at? Nothing major was happening, I'm pretty sure. But
a place we shouldn't have been, had some shit that shouldn't have happened, and now we're trying to get out of here before we end up losing our heads.
That's pretty accurate, Renner. I'm going to fill in a couple of the details if you don't mind. Our kindred found themselves at the Murder Castle, formerly inhabited by H.H. Holmes, with whom Mev had a history of sorts. When you all arrived, you didn't find H.H. Holmes. You found an empty post office, above which several men with Tommy guns stood guard, their mouths stitched shut. Well, a man who looked like H.H. Holmes to the quick glance had taken up residence in that location. You all took care of the armed guards, and as you recovered, Runner had a bit of a moment. He lost his temper, and we finally got him calmed down. And in that moment, as everything sort of settled, you noticed the pile of tiny furry rat corpses piled up in the corner. Friends of Enoch's, no doubt. And that's where we're going to rejoin everyone. Standing in the hallway, surrounded by bodies. Having just discovered yet another clue, another step towards figuring out who was it who attacked Chester LaForge's blood bank.
Can we get the fuck out of here, please?
Why would we not?
I don't even know why we came here, so yeah, can we go?
Lucy.
Yes, darling.
Well, you were away, let's say. You took your leave when Runner had his moment.
Mm-hmm.
You noticed something strange. The wall you had flattened yourself against seemed soft to the touch.
I would like to go investigate.
Roll me wits and investigation, please. So as the rest of you stand there in this tense moment, Lucy kind of catches herself and turns around facing the wall and sort of leans against it. And Lucy, you hear a muffled groaning.
Interesting. I'd like to, I'm used to shadows anyway, so I'm gonna push through and see if I can put my hand through it.
When you try and reach through this wall, at first everything gives way. It's very soft. It's old plaster. It's rotted materials. Much like everything else up here, it's very dilapidated and falling into disrepair. Until your fingertips meet a cold metal. You realize what you've just reached through is it's just a piece of plaster that someone has put up to cover something.
I'd like to try to pull the plaster down.
Go ahead and, you know what, I'm not going to make you roll for that. It's cheap plaster. The four of you see Lucy turn around and start clawing at this wall.
A little help would be most appreciated. I feel like that there is a metal bar, perhaps some cage of some sort. because I
Metal?
can't hear- Yes.
Mev will go over and help take down the wall.
I keep pulling it.
Henry will walk over and hand each of them a handkerchief as they are clawing at the wall.
Do you say anything when you present these gifts to your friends?
Make sure you clean up after.
Of
Yes.
course, thank you.
It's monogrammed.
Whose?
Rose, what are you doing?
Looks like these two have got taken down the wall. Darlin's doing whatever Darlin's doing.
He's doing darling things.
He's doing Darlin things.
Hashtag just darling things.
So she's just gonna keep an eye out, make sure nobody's gonna be coming up those stairs to surprise them, just keeping an eye out for everything.
You take a moment and you step away from this scene and walk back over to the stairs where you don't hear anything per se, but you do get sort of a tense feeling as though you're being watched. You do remember almost immediately, though, that Mev had told you this place was full of restless spirits.
Nope. Nope. She's gonna go back in. She's just like,
You
Anyone
were
else?
just checking. You were making sure the coast was clear.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's just like,
yeah.
nope.
What would Runner be doing while his two friends clawed their way through a wall?
While I have like just a tiny moment, if we got like a loose mailbag or something, I'm gonna bag up those rat bodies, like maybe give them like a little funeral or something, lay them to rest later, not now, because I'm not trying to get laid to rest in here, but maybe give them like a little bit of dignity, you know?
Yeah, they were your friends.
Yeah.
Lucy and Mev, after not even a full minute's worth of work on this wall, you start to expose a thick plate of glass. And as you continue to pull down the plaster and as it crumbles at your feet, the rumbling that you heard, Lucy, gets slightly louder and rhythmic. Mev, I want you to roll me intelligence and investigation, please.
I think that one's a good one. 2 of the onks and then 1 with the little stars. That's many. 3. 3.
3
I can
successes.
count.
So with 3 successes, you know exactly what this room is. Knowing H.H. Holmes, this is the asphyxiation chamber.
Yep.
However, as the rubble that you all are clearing falls to the ground, a little bit of light from one of the outer lampposts shines through a window in that room. Again, thick glass. But it's enough to make out a huge, hulking, fur-covered body laying in the center of the asphyxiation chamber. Its chest rising and falling very slowly.
What should we do? This is your level of expertise, no, Maeve?
I just know what the room is. I'm not qualified to make decisions on what to do with what's inside at the moment.
Runner,
Yeah.
is it possible that you can help us with the situation here?
Yeah. Just what the what?
Does this look like the lupines we saw before? Is it the same color?
This one is a darker black. Jet black. It twitches every once in a while as it lays there on the ground.
Curveball. I realize that thing's a monster, but nothing God created deserves to die in this place.
That is correct.
I bang on the glass. I don't try and break it. Not like feel like maybe like boom, 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 boom. See like if it stirs or wakes up.
Its chest rises, but doesn't fall for a moment.
Hey, can you hear me? Hey, just move if you can hear me.
And in the space of a fraction of a second, this hulking beast is on the glass, snarling at you from the other side.
Hey, monster to monster. I'll do everything I can to get you out of there, but you gotta promise you're not just gonna bite our fucking faces off.
Everyone roll me wits and awareness.
No making a rouse check for tonight?
Well, it's
You've
the
already
same
done
night.
it.
Yeah.
I know, I just wanted to double check. Didn't know if there was mystical reason. Oh, that sounded silly.
You said 1, Lucy? Okay. Was that 2, Kelly? Okay. 1.
Ooh.
Okay.
Foire for people listening at home.
How many, Henry?
A 3.
3. Henry and Enoch. Now that you're seeing it up close, something is wrong with this lupine. Beyond the scope of what's normally wrong. There's a crazed look in its eye. There's something going on here beyond what is normal for the aggression levels of a lupine in its Krenos form. And Enoch, you don't know a ton about the lupines or their society, but you do know that there's a group that is known for being insane.
Yeah, they got like their own mulks, but worse.
And looking at the behavior that you see on the other side of the glass, there's no competence there.
Lucy.
Yes?
Lucy, can you drop the shroud on the other side of this glass, or is it only if it's not airtight?
I think I should be able to do it. I'm pretty sure I can do that. DM?
I'm literally trying to look up Stygian Shroud right now to see if it's.
As we know, my computer is not so happy right now, so if you could, please, thank you.
All right, I'll have the answer in a couple seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna refer to BB
actually,
when I have like 5 books open.
Darkness spews out of a nearby shadow. Like, it does not say it's centered on the user.
So then, yes, you absolutely can.
Put that thing out of its misery.
Oh, man. I succeed on my rouse track, and yeah, just right in the immediate, I just kind of...
And again, in a fraction of a second, the beast flattens itself up against the glass right before the Stygian Shroud falls. And it takes a few moments, but you do hear the scrape of claws as the beast falls down the pane of glass into the ground in its final resting position.
That's something they did to the lupine. I mean, I know some of them are a little, but I mean, Henry's not like that though. Is that, Mev, you're the expert here. They do something that breaks minds along with bodies in this place?
Oh, he was very, very good at it, but I don't know. He did it to humans. This is different.
Lucy, my darling, could you do me a favor and just keep that up a little while longer? Just make triple sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, it took the average human quite a long time to suffocate in there, so I can only imagine how long he's been in there.
You stand there long enough that all noise has ceased from the other side of the glass. Even the slow rumble of the breathing has completely gone away. And whatever tension was filling the air with electricity you could almost feel is now gone, dissipated.
I'd like to renew my insistence that we depart this place. Now there's crazed lupines in here to boot.
I don't disagree, but this is going to be a loose end that we're gonna have to tie up later.
I mean, do the cops finding a dead lupine count as a masquerade breach? I don't know.
And I very much look at Rose.
I don't even know what's going to happen should anyone fucking find this. This is just...
We can always just burn it again.
Yeah, why was this place not burned to the ground?
Because he was very good. He just wanted the insurance money. He didn't want to lose his house. And Mev starts to wander down towards the post office. She stops to pick something up off the floor and then wanders down to the post
No,
office.
that's not exactly what I was talking about. Don't these lupines, don't they travel in packs?
I mean, if that one's pack was around, it already would have been busted out of there.
Okay, I would like to go on record that I said so.
Yeah,
Oh.
I agree
Rose.
with you. Another reason to fucking leave.
Rose, you feel pretty comfortable knowing that the police officers are so terrified of this place, they won't come here. Even if the post office downstairs were to get robbed at gunpoint, there is no way they would set foot in this building.
Like, this place is the place that they send cops to on a dare as part of, initiation, and even then nobody ever does it. Like, I don't think anyone's actually gonna come searching here, but...
It has lovely architecture.
A point of reference, since this was a couple of weeks ago, do I know about the card with the shipping address? Is that information Enoch possesses?
You all saw it. And actually, as you're standing there, Rose, you're kind of glancing at the notes that you've taken throughout the course of the evening and the night before. You're looking at them, and you have that card in your hand, and there's something here. There is something that just, you're so close to connecting all of the dots. But yes, Runner does have knowledge of that address.
Henry, darling,
Yes.
that place mean anything to you? Since apparently you're vital to their plan too. You know that place?
DM, do I know that place?
You do, but I will let you decide how or if you actually reveal that information.
Yes, I know the place.
I mean, is it our kind of place?
Oh,
You had been sent there on assignment. You were handling the finances of Amtresses, and you went to meet with their current accounting board.
yes, they are of our persuasion. And then I would take a handkerchief out of my pocket and give it to Runner at the same time.
I believe Runner's shot.
Clean yourself up.
Only
It's a
a
nice
little.
place.
'Tis but a scratch. Don't worry about me. I fit in everywhere.
ST for clarification, like
Yeah.
B-Dave said earlier, were we all told that address? I vaguely remember knowing it as well.
Yes, you were all told the address. Rose shared the information with you as soon as she found it. And previously, where we left off, you had considered that it was a trap. However, you weren't scared. Lucy doesn't back down.
Nope. All right, well then we should probably be on our way.
There's as good a place as any, but anywhere that ain't here is good to me.
Does anybody need to feed before we go?
No.
I can
We'll be-
manage.
Quite dangerous there. I have a feeling.
Mev, God willing, this is the last time you ever set foot in this place. You want to fucking burn it, we can fucking burn it. Otherwise, can we be done with this?
Yes.
Yes, you want to burn it, or yes, we're done.
Yeah, requires more clarification.
Yes.
She means both.
DM, as we are deciding whether or not to burn this, can I focus on that card and force a premonition? Sorry, storyteller.
No, it's fine. In this case, you can't. And it's not for lack of trying. Usually this works for you. But as soon as you start to focus on the address and the card and everything else that you've witnessed this evening, a white noise fills your head, unlike anything. You can't think. You aren't connected the way you usually are. It's as if you're just here by yourself. Mev, I would like to know in what fashion you are leaving the murder castle, presumably for the last time.
Well, if everyone else is out of there, I would assume. I would overturn the rest of the box of handkerchiefs and strategically place them around the corners and light them on fire. You know, under the curtains, etc., etc. Oh, I've just committed a federal offense and destroyed the mail.
And while you're doing this, Pearl.
Yeah, I'm looking around.
She had waited for you at the bottom of the stairs. And she watches you as you walk from corner to corner, placing the handkerchiefs. And as you put down the last one and sort of stand up to admire your handiwork, She looks up at you and tries to hold your hand and just sort of nods and smiles.
Oh, I've got an extra special present. Don't worry. And she will light it on fire with, I presume, matches that I would have with me. I don't know.
Matches
Unless
are
someone
handy.
does. Yeah,
It's,
matches are handy. And then she'll walk out and wait for it to kind of take hold, you know? And then she will reach down and pick up the thing that she picked up off the floor, which just so happens to be what remains of H.H. Holmes's face, and throws it back into the fire. Hopefully that means he gets stuck in there with them. And then she'll turn and walk away.
The four of you, I take it, do not interrupt this catharsis as it's occurring.
Oh, the moment I hear fires entering the equation, she's fast. I'm not. I'm across the street. Like, no.
Yeah, Rose is probably sitting, leaning on a building across the street, offers a cigarette.
Just out of curiosity, would this, because we're across the street, would this cause any sort of frenzy?
No.
For any of us?
No. You are the only souls. Well, not the only souls, but the only slightly closer to living beings in this block of Chicago right now. It's a bunch of empty storefronts.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure the fire didn't cause us to panic.
Yeah. You all saw it coming. You knew it was coming. You knew exactly what Mev was working on. So you
far
had
enough
moments.
away.
Yeah, you had time to mentally prepare for watching this happen. So now the five of you stand watching what remained of the murder castle go up in flames.
What now?
When she comes out, I'm like,
Somebody went through a whole lot of effort, apparently just to get a rise out of you.
I think it was a rise out of all of us. They just knew this was an easy target.
Yeah, but I didn't care anything about the murder hotel.
Castle.
Nor did I.
Nor did I.
So we got a hit on him and a hit on you.
Most of the people who don't like me that much are no longer around. So this would be news to me as well.
I guess the only lead we got is wherever that address. Our kind of people.
Then I believe it's about time that we jump in the car and head over.
Yeah. Hopefully, the people that deserve some peace get it, and the ones that don't burn in hell.
What a lovely sentiment.
I have this really lovely vision of just the fact of H.H. Holmes' ghost getting stuck in there with all the people he killed, because that would be really fun for him, I'm sure.
Well, remember, that wasn't H.H. Holmes.
No, I know.
That was fake H.H. Holmes.
Fake H.H. Holmes.
Fake H. Holmes.
Fake
Faux H.
Holmes? Fake Holmes?
oh, fuck Holmes, all right.
Anyway, the five of you, Lucy, your man pulls the town car around. It's almost as if he knows whenever you need him, he's there. He's very good about that. And he pulls the car around. As the five of you pile in, he does not ask questions about the fire across the street. He just stares at the steering wheel, waits for you all to get settled. Where to, miss?
And I hand him, it was a business card, right, with the address on it?
Correct.
Yeah. Hand the business card over.
All right. And he pulls off the curb. It's a very short drive. It's only about 5 minutes from here. Would any of you like to do anything while you're in the car?
Mev would try to just kind of lean back and get a little bit of rest, and also try not to make eye contact with everybody whose time she apparently just wasted.
I will provide my fourth and final monogrammed handkerchief to Rose.
What monogram is it? Literally, this is Kelly asking, not.
It's like EJ. It's
So totally
it's no
different.
one.
Okay.
Found this. Oh, words aren't necessary.
Thank you.
I will say, I turn and look at Rose and I say, hey, you know how like yesterday we were all like teaching you the ropes and all of that blah, 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 blah. It's, things aren't usually quite supposed to be so, overt as how it's been with us.
Well, no. 2 nights ago, I didn't know the pines were a fucking thing. I didn't know that apparently someone's out here killing rats, sewing mouths shut. All of this was below any sort of radar of mine trying to live my night tonight. So, you guys are really raising that bar there, and I don't know how anyone goes through this.
One night at a time.
And as Enoch finishes one night at a time, the town car comes to a slow halt. The building that you all are in front of right now is huge, massive. And again, Lucy, you've been there for business purposes. Henry, you've also been there. Everyone knows this building. It's full of corporate offices and different businesses. It's a normal Chicago building, a staple of the skyline.
It's not the one that I saw in that shared vision with Henry, correct?
It is not.
What was the contact name again? No? Anyone?
I think it was just Amstress.
It's just the building name.
Just the building.
That's right.
The company.
Well, seeing as how there are 2 very notorious monsters sitting here, plus one who would like to remain unseen, and she looks over at Henry Darling and kind of nods, turns to Rose and goes, I believe you're the best one to go knock on the door, no?
I have some feeling that this is all just some sort of like hilarious ruse. At the same time,
As you say ruse, the front door swings open, and a man stands holding it ajar. His mouth has been stitched shut.
That seems like an invitation.
And for the record, I believe the elaborate ruse was behind us.
Mev, are you gonna be okay?
Well, I do believe that the time for subterfuge is past if we are actually being invited in.
That was what I was worried about. Okay, I guess we should go.
The moon is bright.
Is it?
Thank you, darling.
The 5
Well.
of you approach the front door. And again, it's being held open. The man doesn't appear to be armed. He simply holds it, and as you approach, he gestures inside in a welcoming motion.
I bow elaborately and thank him.
He doesn't make a move, but a momentary look of confusion crosses his face.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna wait to bring up the rear, so I just wait on the curb until everybody else gets out.
Okay. Mev, what are you doing?
Unmuting myself. I would get out and stand on the sidewalk and just kind of wait for Lucy, you know, take in the surroundings, ruminate on the fact that a very obvious invitation to go in was given, which is odd.
Enoch.
I wait for Lucy. I get out of the car in case she wants to say something to her man. But I wait for her before we go in.
Rose.
And I drop Mask of 1,000 Faces. I mean,
going full Enoch.
If we're going to do it, let's do it. Yep.
Rose.
She's gonna enter with Darling to make sure that he's gonna be okay.
So the two of you enter the building. The man still stands there, holding open the door. Lucy.
I'd say something in Spanish to the driver along the lines of stay put, keep the engine on sort of situation. And then I kind of look at my two compatriots and head on in.
The three of you cross the threshold, and the man closes the door behind you. He walks across the lobby, trying to take a position where he is leading all five of you towards a bank of elevators. He presses a button and just waits for a moment. And when the door swings open, again, he walks through it and holds out a welcoming arm, gesturing that the five of you should join him.
I'd like to make sure he's breathing.
Gimme wits and awareness. Gimme it.
Foire.
Oh yeah. He's alive. Alive, in fact. If you focus on it, you can hear the blood pulsing through his body. Do the five of you enter the elevator? Yeah?
Yep.
Once the five of you are in, the door swings shut, and he presses the button for the 14th floor. And the elevator begins to rise. And it's one of those elevator rides that goes on an obscenely long time. We get some elevator music from Henry in the background, but all the while, this man is just standing, staring at you all, looming over you. But when the elevator finally comes to a halt, the door opens, and once again, he gestures. But this time, he makes no move to follow you as you leave. You all step out onto an expensive marble floor. The rooms that you're in right now look more like they were built for a residence than a business building. There's plush carpets. There's tapestries all over the walls. There's artifacts and vases. And Mev, looking at it, it actually reminds you of your home from the sheer volume of history that's contained here.
Is there anything in particular, any era or something that might give me a clue as to who or what we're dealing with? Since I do know collections.
You do know collections. You know that this one is vast. And you know that it stretches well beyond the time period where people should really be owning pieces of history. The five of you exited the elevator into a hall. And as you walk down the hall, there are artifacts and all these beautiful things from different portions of history, different pieces of the world, covered in a thick layer of dust.
They should fire their cleaning person.
They should take better care.
There seems to be a lit room with the door slightly ajar at the end of this hallway. Would any of you like to do anything as you stand there or walk down the hallway?
Like is strong. Like is strong. I am gonna go ahead and pass without a trace though, and silence the death.
Okay.
So I'm just sort of like,
I'd like to use Oblivion Sight just to see if there's any ghosts around, anything that I need to be on the alert for.
What all does Oblivion Sight allow you to see?
I think it's just ghosts. B Dave.
just ghosts in the dark, of course, and ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah. No ghosts. Nary one.
Great.
In the strictest technical sense, it allows you to see into the Shadowlands. So, you know, if that's relevant, yeah, it's not just the. Okay, since the unseen allows you to see ghosts that are here, Eyes of Oblivion allows you to see into the Shadowlands. So you can see ghosts,
Gotcha.
yes, but you might see ghosts that maybe are not manifesting here. But again, only in as much as relevant.
No.
And
No ghosts.
Can I bring up a slight architecture point just to bring across the whole shadow thing? Typically, buildings don't have a 13th floor.
Mhm.
Typically.
Mm-hmm.
So are we in some Twilight Zone stuff?
No, you're on the 14th floor, which is
Which-
actually the 13th
Would
floor.
technically be the 13th floor. Mhm.
Copy. Okay, just checking. Okay.
Yeah, she's thought of everything.
I sent you a message, storyteller.
I see that.
Okay.
Yes. That does seem odd.
So
Rose?
Mev as well is looking around, like her eyes are looking back and forth and looking for things that should be there and are not.
Rose?
Mhm.
What are you doing? This is especially out of place for you.
Yeah. She's probably what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look around, see entrances and exits. Where are they? Is there an emergency exit? Should there need to be an emergency exit? Contemplating whether or not a kindred can survive a fall from the 13th floor.
So you're stressing. Basically, is
Stressing,
what I'm
but
hearing.
also like scouting the place for both security, ingresses and egresses. Probably butchered the pronunciation.
Okay.
Scoping the place out a bit, amongst all the dust and tapestry.
And Henry, darling,
Yes.
what are you doing?
Well, we were nice enough to get an invite into this fabulous museum, so I'm going to check out the artifacts as we walk along. Just so that I can see them better, I do activate my heightened senses and make my way down the hall as if I'm at the Met. Wait, is that the right?
Mhm.
Yes. I will point out particularly nice features to anybody who's listening,
Where
or no
where
one.
I am
Mev-
not only am I not, I'm actively telling him to shut up about it, but with Silence of Death up, he doesn't hear me. I'm just like,
Henry and Mev are viewing the artifacts with the same kind of intensity, but very different reactions. Mev is physically tightening up. The more of this room she sees, the more of this space she kind of absorbs. And Henry is delighted. Yes, Dave.
I specialize in acquisitions, not necessarily art. Usually it's just straight up bootlegging, but I've smuggled my fair share of things. Do I spot anything in here that I myself know I transported?
You know what? Make me a
Roll for crime?
roll for crime, intelligence and subterfuge. Is that right? Or no, larceny.
Yeah.
Intelligence and larceny for me.
Could I persuade upon your charity to let me do wits? If it's got to be intelligence, it can be. That's fine.
Wits is applicable too. Do it.
All right.
Only because I love you.
Thank you.
Diana, not the storyteller. The storyteller's probably gonna kill you.
Dynamite also. Porque no los dos. That is going to be 4 successes.
Looking around, how long have you been operating in Chicago?
I've probably been in Chi-Town. What is it? What year we at? 19...
We're at
14?
1931.
1931. Oh, I thought it was still 1914.
Living in the past, man.
Literally. I've probably been here about 25, 30 years.
Okay. Looking around, you don't see anything that you transported. However, the associates that you've met here, the people that you work with and around, your competition even. Everyone tells stories after a few drinks, after a long night. Some of the pieces here remind you of those stories, but the things that are tripping that memory are things that happened 100 years ago.
Do I recognize any of this?
Roll me
Same question.
You know what? Everybody give me wits and awareness.
Oh,
I mean, also
You can do larceny if you want, Lucy. 'Cause it
also
fits for you.
knowing that can I add my academics given what the specialty of my academics is?
Yeah,
Are you trying to see if you know what anything is or if you recognize it?
both.
Both. Yeah, I have a specialty in ancient history.
And I have a specialty in religion.
The religion isn't going to apply here.
Okay.
But
So wits awareness,
the
academics?
history, yes.
I'm just choosing not to roll. There's no way my character would logically know.
She's probably just flabbergasted right now.
She's just like...
4 for Henry?
I'm a learned man.
You are. 4 and 2. Cool. All 3 of you, looking around this hall, the things that are on display are not what you'd usually see in a museum. They're not pieces of history owned by royalty. They aren't bejeweled cups. They aren't, multi-million-dollar paintings. They aren't particularly flashy pieces. What they are is pieces of everyday life from around the world, stretching back hundreds of years in history.
Is it older than I am?
Send me your age.
Okay.
I don't remember how old Boudica is. I'm sorry, guys. I'm dumb. I'm a dummy.
I mean-
dumb.
You're not supposed to use the B word.
Bitch?
Oh, is that the
Whoa!
word? Let's see here. 61.
We're here now.
Well, what? I'm sorry. No. Go ahead. I'll message it to you in just a second. Just give me I have to do
Really, I'm
conversions.
sorry.
I have to do conversions in my head.
It's fine because we're about to hit a landmark. As the 5 of you kind of work your way down this hall and approach the door, it swings open slightly, and another one of the men in suits walks out, and he stands in the doorway, and he holds out his hands.
I walk up and shake it. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting us here.
He does not allow you to touch him. He pulls his hand out of the way.
Rude.
He gestures specifically to Rose.
Aww.
Don't be rude.
And I'll give him my gun.
And he'll look around to the rest of you to see if you have anything to add to this pile of arms.
I'm giving him the Tommy gun. The baby one's still in my purse.
Mine are attached.
He continues to look at you, Rose.
She hands over the baby one, too.
And then he steps aside.
How do they even know?
Who enters the room first?
I mean, I'll go in.
Nobody can see you though, right?
Well, I mean, I've been doing this long enough to know that plenty of people can still see me, but theoretically, no one can see me. Yeah, theoretically, no one can see or hear me.
That'd be
Honestly-
nice, right? Like, that'd be great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I sent you
work-
the date. Sorry.
Go ahead, Lucy.
Storyteller.
I'd say I think I work enough with Runner to know that he would probably step in first, but I'm gonna step in directly after, so it doesn't look like Runner is magically moving
Okay.
by himself.
So that there isn't just some ghostly force opening the door.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Runner, you step into this room. And what you see in front of you is a huge firelit dining room. The ceiling is high. The table is carved mahogany, but it's pushed to the side. In all four corners of this room stand guards, just like the one Rose handed her weapons to. Beside one of the guards is a cage in which another huge, furry form hangs limply from bindings at its wrists and its neck. A small gash in its flesh, dripping down to a blood collection plate slightly below it. Seated at the head of this table is a woman, very slight, very pale, gaunt even. She holds a needle in one hand as she bends over a form laying at the end of the dining table. It twitches slightly as you see her come up with the needle. She says, "I'll be with you in a moment, Enoch." And with that, we're going to go to a break real quick. All right, guys, give us like 5 minutes,
Mhm.
and then we'll come back, and we'll do the thing.
Okay. Was that a yes on the collection being older than me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
Oh
guys,
boy.
stick around. We'll be back in just a minute or two.
I was
welcome back, everyone. Enoch, as you entered the room, this figure at the head of the table raises her head to you and says, "I'll be with you in just a moment." Her bones protrude from her body, and everything about her face shows a tinge of hypoxia. There's a blue lilt to her lips. Her eyes are sunken. And she shows just the faintest bit of scar tissue in a crisscross pattern across her mouth.
Does she look like one of my cousins or just somebody who's dead?
Just someone who's dead. Looking at her, you might think at first glance that she was a Nos, but after a closer inspection, no, this is just messed up. The rest of you too, please come in.
I would pass along to Lucy as, the information I already gave you
Okay.
privately, but also I would whisper to you the fact that either this person is older than I am, or it's like an order that's been around for a very long time, and that's old.
Yeah, Lucy nods, and she's gonna enter because she was at the threshold, letting Enoch kind of investigate, and she'll enter in, noting what Mev had said.
Miss Borgia, please have a seat.
Thank you. I apologize, I am not terribly good with names. You can ask Enoch. Could you remind me of yours?
I have many identities, my dear. Please, the rest of you, come on in. Have a seat. This is important.
Mev will actually try to remain standing behind Lucy. Just standing. She doesn't want to sit.
Boudica, my dear, you really do need to have a seat.
She pulls out the chair and sits next to Lucy and does not look pleased.
Unless there is a chair that is already out, I just walk near a chair but keep standing because I can't interact with it. So unless one is back, yeah.
Officer, please. Mr. Darling, all of you.
Quite.
Rose, do you have a seat?
Rose is gonna get a seat. You can let it be up to you whether or not it's accidentally the one that Enoch's grabbing.
Enoch, I want to think, probably went further into the room.
Yeah. She's just gonna be sort of as away from all this as she can. She's going to take a page out of Darling's book. She's going to watch and listen. And try to take notes.
Enoch, I do not want to have to ask you again.
I'll drop the silence of death and say,
Well, I'm sure you know how this works. Can't really get my own chair. So, either one of them can,
and I nod towards the dudes along the wall,
or I can stand.
She makes a quick glance towards one of the gentlemen standing in the corner of the room, and they immediately walk over and pull out a chair for you.
And I turn silence of death back on and sit back down.
Well, I want to thank all of you for joining me this evening. It seems that we were going to meet no matter what, but I do regret the circumstances are like this.
So what is it that you wanted to meet with? Because apparently we had the prior engagement we had to attend to before getting to you.
Oh, well, I simply wanted, Mr. Darling dead.
Oh, well, I already am.
No, my dear, your final death.
That sounds interesting because I very much want him around because he is helping me with my businesses. So can you please enlighten us as to why you want Mr. Darling dead?
Well, of course. I mean, at first I wanted Mr. Darling dead. That is, after all, why I am here. I have been asleep for a very long time. But waking up to this, she sort of gestures at the five of you, was a welcome surprise. I should explain. Whenever our kind find themselves in a difficult situation, I make my way there. I'm the one who fixes the problems. And it seems as though we have created, you have created, quite the problem here in Chicago.
I haven't the foggiest idea what you're speaking about.
Don't you?
No.
Rose, you have your pad out again. And you're just kind of, you're paying attention, but you're just sort of staring at all the notes you've taken, all the names you've written down and everything throughout the course of the past 2 days. It seems to me that we are in a position where that foolish man set me up with you for not one, not two, but all of my financial accounts. You understand why that might be a problem, wouldn't you, Lucy? You're the one who likes anonymity above all else here. You're the one who understands why someone might not want all of their books kept in one house.
Absolutely. I did not know that that was an issue.
Stanley assured me that everything would be handled by the best while I was here solving our problem, and he failed to mention that the best was simply one Moonchild. The rest of you just happened to get involved, I'm afraid, but after
I have
watching
references. I am quite good.
My dear, I'm aware. That's the only reason you're still standing right now.
Mev would kind of like to call bullshit on her happened to get involved, like she didn't know we were the ones that would be involved. Kelly is trying to figure out how to do this without getting us all killed.
Mev, what is that expression you're wearing?
I find it rather coincidental that just somehow things that would enrage Enoch, things that would enrage me, things that would enrage Lucy were just last minute, as if you didn't know that we were the ones that would be involved.
I'm afraid I'm not certain exactly what you mean. However, it was to your benefit that you got involved, I'm afraid.
Oh, do tell, because right now I don't see any benefits.
You there with the notebook. What's your name?
It's Rose, ma'am.
Rose. No, your name, darling. Your name.
Rose O'Connell, ma'am.
Oh, that's very coincidental.
A lot of people make that joke.
No. You do realize that you and Mev are of the same cloth.
See, I don't even really understand what that means, but
You'll learn.
what I think she's saying is that where I work, 1 coincidence is a coincidence, 2 is a happenstance, and 3 is intentional.
You need to stop talking now, dear. And as you're staring at your notepad, You start just idly doodling, just drawing little lines in the margins. And you find yourself spelling out words. You write out Mr. S.S. Stess over and over again. You write out Amtresses. You write out everything that you've picked up over and over and over again. And the letters start to rearrange themselves over and over again to make one word over and over and over again. Seamstress.
As this is happening, hearing the last line that came out of her mouth of telling Rose to be quiet, Lucretia speaks up and basically says, "There's only one person in this room that could tell this young woman to be quiet, and that is certainly not you."
You're right. I suppose I should carry on with my offer before we decide what happens next.
Now, what is your offer?
I want you all to join me. There is a problem here in Chicago, an infestation. It's gotten painful recently. That's why I'm here. All of these newly turned kindred, the masquerade is hanging on by a thread. Do you not see that as an issue for us? For you, for your business, Lucy?
Yes, I don't necessarily see it as an issue or a risk, but rather an opportunity to teach these younglings how to better navigate the masquerade, no?
Did you somehow miss the news? That man's body crumpled up into a milk crate. Enoch, new players are finding their way into your game every day now. Most of them are not as tactful as you are. I admire your discretion.
I just got 2 questions for you before I offer my official opinion on such things. But I just gotta know.
And I motioned over towards the bleeding lupine.
I'm like, that's 4 by my count you had under your thumb. 1 bleeding, 1 suffocating, 2 carrying out hits. How you doing that? How you getting the dogs to heal?
That's a wonderful question. Officer Rose. When a building has an infestation, do you take care of it yourself?
No, ma'am. We would normally hire someone to make sure they could get the job done properly.
Precisely. That absolves you of some of the guilt. It's what allows you to feel good about yourself as you go throughout your day, having massacred an entire civilization.
So all those businesses that were hit up by similar attacks like the blood bank, that was you.
It wasn't me. I know you all are familiar with one Al Capone. Well, I might not have the best relationship with the Lupines, but he certainly has his connections. They do whatever he says.
Now that makes sense, which leads directly to my second question. Speaking of not getting your hands dirty, what are you offering me to come aboard?
The chance to be a part of the real Kindred Society.
I think you're smart enough to know that appeals to altruism don't work on me or mine. Only self-interest.
Look around you, Enoch. You do not acquire this kind of wealth over a century or two. If you're out for status, if you're out for exclusivity, all of those things can be provided to you.
Well, then I only have one condition.
Yeah.
Any of my associates here that say no, you let walk out that door.
That is unfortunate. And with an almost imperceivable motion of her hand, one of the gentlemen who'd been standing in the corner leaves the room. Henry.
Yes?
I'm about to present you with an option that'll allow you to keep everything you've worked so hard for.
Oh, I didn't work for this suit. It was a gift.
And she kind of takes one hand and pushes the body that had been spread out in front of her on the table off. And it hits the floor with a thump. You can see this man is still very much alive. The guard returns. There's a blonde woman in his grasp. Her eyes are red and puffy. Her hair's just a little bit mussed. Her cheeks are stained with tears. Her eyes are wide with terror as she enters the room, but they immediately lock onto Henry.
Oh, goodness.
Henry, what's going on? Who are these people? The guard brings Virginia around the side of the table to stand beside the seamstress. And she takes a moment to absorb her surroundings, and then just glances to her left to see the seamstress, and she can't break her gaze. Henry, I'm going to give you the opportunity to right the wrong that you have created in making my presence traceable.
Certainly.
I want you to wipe the memories of every person sitting at this table right now. I want you to consent to having your own memories obliterated. Or else, I will take this woman, and she grabs Virginia by the hair, and rip her apart, tendon by tendon, searing it into your brain for the rest of your days until you meet your final death. Is that understood?
That's not much of a choice, now is it?
Yeah, for somebody that has all of this vast wealth, you're really bad at negotiating.
Money means nothing when you've been here as long as I have.
Henry, I need to know, who is this woman to you?
Well, she was once a very important individual to me.
Once or now? TikTok.
Dear,
The seamstress
Yes.
lets go of her hair and takes a step back towards a buffet that's pressed up against the wall, and starts just idly running her finger around the lid of a canopic jar that's sitting there.
Is the woman wearing a wedding ring?
No wedding ring. It's amazing what we'll do to protect those we love, even ones departed far long ago.
in my
Wonderful.
former life, she was quite important, and you could say that she's what tethers me to this existence.
Your former
now.
life? What are you talking about, Henry?
Suffice it to say, losing her would be quite harmful to me.
What's wrong? Why are you all just sitting there?
Shh, 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 shh.
And the seamstress will say, You have but a moment to make your decision here, Henry. The rest of you.
You still haven't told us what the problem is you're here to solve.
Why, the new kindred, of course. With things going downhill in the world of the mortals, it seems more and more of us have come onto the scene. I don't like those kind of fluctuations. They cause problems with keeping things hidden.
Who brought you back to deal with this problem? Because I have to tell you, and she kind of gestures with her chin towards the canopic jar that the woman was just touching. I know what that is. You've been around a while.
Then you know that this is not something to be trifled with.
You've been around long enough to know that mortals get themselves into trouble all the time, and it always
Not
fixes
the
itself.
mortals. This is a problem with us.
Overpopulation will solve itself. You're involving people
I'm balancing
that you have
the
no
ecosystem.
right to.
Bringing in a predator to weed out those who are weak and cannot survive is simply the logical choice here.
That never works.
That's a no then from you, Miv.
Henry, if you touch my memories, I will kill you.
For what it's worth, I don't disagree with you, seamstress. I found the world could do with a lot less of us, but, again, you let my friends walk, or we all hold court right here and right now, and you're strong. Maybe you can take the 5 of us. Probably you could take the 5 of us, but it's gonna be messy, and it doesn't have to.
So I do have a question. Speaking of messy. So you mean to tell us that the option that we have is to take out all of our memories, or we help you take out the young ones?
Well, or simply join the fight. It seems a little silly that you all are standing up for those who've only been with us a fortnight or less.
No, we're just standing up for ourselves. And by the way, Rose, how long ago was it that you said you met that crooner in that dive bar?
Has to be months ago.
She may be fresh, but at least she has a good head on her shoulders. After all, she's been palling around with the likes of you for more than a night and still's kept up rather well. All I'm offering is a chance to right the wrong that you all have so clearly created. And true to my word, I suppose, Enoch, if what you desire is that your companions can leave this place, who am I to stop them? In fact, I'll give them the opportunity to show me how much you all deserve to be here.
That seems complicated. But look, lady, if you're asking me to move merchandise and execute the weak, I was already doing it. Might as well do it for you.
And I extend my hand towards her.
Excuse me.
What?
I thought we were gonna work on a contract.
She doesn't seem like the contract type.
No, but I do. And I end up using Stinging Shroud against her.
Okay. Could you read the text of Stygian Shroud exactly to
Yeah,
me?
it's not gonna. It'll blind her, but it'll blind us all. She won't suffocate. But it could kill the guards. Yeah.
And it would kill the woman there.
Mm-hmm. Anybody that needs to breathe is screwed.
Yep.
Which doesn't mean don't do it, by the way. Sorry, Henry. Gag.
Just
It's either that or Touch of Oblivion, but I don't think I can get close enough. So.
Yeah, Stygian Shroud doesn't really hurt other. I mean, it will. Let me rephrase. It will inhibit her, but it will inhibit us all.
Right. That's what I'm hoping.
I have Stygian Shroud up right now if you need the darkness spews out from a nearby shadows as the vampire blankets the area around them. Well, do you want the flavor text or just the mechanics?
just the specific mechanics. So that first sentence was perfect for me.
The effect covers her Oblivion rating in yards. Anyone caught in the Stygian Shroud receives a 3 dice penalty to all rolls unless they possess the ability to see through supernatural darkness. Any mortals caught in the Stygian Shroud suffer 1 level of superficial damage for every turn they remain in it due to the power's suffocating effects.
In the span of a moment, shadow creeps out of Lucy's fingertips. I take it you're directing it specifically at the seamstress.
Oh, yes.
Cool. In the brief moments before the blackness, that inky darkness actually hits her, Lucy, you make eye contact with her. And instead of fear on her face, like you would normally expect when utilizing this particular skill, she just smiles at you. And the blackness spreads around the room. In that moment, Henry, you hear Virginia collapse to the ground, coughing.
Yeah. Not a fighter here. However, this is a moment that matters quite a lot. As soon as the darkness falls, I will dash to the place that we saw her last and attempt to start taking her backwards towards the exit under the cover of the Stygian Shroud.
Everyone roll me wits and awareness, please.
With the 3 dice penalty because we're in the shroud?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Like for one die.
Also, before, did we, what was the ruling on whether or not Eyes of the Beast could see through the Stygian Shroud?
We decided for flavor that yes, it can.
I'm gonna go rouse my wits so I can roll more than 1 die.
Sorry,
So that's a -3 to our.
yeah, to the pool. Yep. Remove 3 before you roll it.
2 for Henry. 1 for
Yes.
Rose.
I do get hungrier.
Okay. Noted. None
That is
for Mev.
0.
None for Enoch. Lucy, you are the only one who sees this.
Well, actually, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but if I can in fact see with my Eyes of the Beast, then I can roll 3 more if that's all right.
Do it, you won't.
Okay, all right. That
Don't
gets me up to a big old 2.
Cool. Henry, you also had 2?
That's correct.
Okay. Henry and Enoch, you see the seamstress kind of duck down for a moment. Lucy, you see that she's whispering in Virginia's ear. And Henry, you approach Virginia and you get her by the crook of her arm and start pulling her towards the door. And all of a sudden, she rips that arm free and you feel a sharp pain in your shoulder. Lucy, you see that Virginia has just stabbed him.
Great. How close are they to me?
8 to 10 feet?
Excellent. I'm moving with quickness, and I'm just gonna tap her on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me." And I'm gonna use I'm gonna drop Stricken Shout for that second now, and I'm gonna end up using Touch of Oblivion. I'm just gonna take her out.
In the moment that you drop the Stygian shroud, one of the guardsmen grabs you by the shoulder and pushes you into the wall. So he body checks you into the wall. It probably actually didn't hurt, but it surprised you. Lucy, dear, please just sit down and let us talk.
I think the time for talking has passed.
Virginia, in the meantime, has pulled the knife out of your shoulder, Henry, and is going back in, aiming for the heart.
Yeah, I reckon I'm going to attempt to compel her to stop trying to kill me.
Okay. Tell me what that looks like.
Actually, no, I am slightly concerned that whatever was laid on her is more powerful than anything that I have. So if I did cloud memory and just made her forget the last few minutes instead, would that be as effective?
You can certainly try.
Stop. No, I'm going to stick with compel. Sorry.
Okay. Tell me what this looks like and what you do.
I'm going to grab her by the wrists and stare directly into her eyes and say, drop the knife and leave.
Go ahead and make me that charisma and dominate roll.
That's not too complex of a single action command, no longer in short sense.
It makes sense. It's technically two separate commands, but, you know, it's the finale, and she just stabbed you, so.
It's rude.
Yeah.
Do my good looks come into play here?
Not here.
Oh.
But don't underestimate the importance of body language.
You gotta show some leg for that.
All right.
Bless you for the ha.
Hey, welcome, readers.
Oh. You know what? I think this is an appropriate time to spend willpower and reroll some of those bad boys.
Okay.
Three.
As she looks back at you and meets your gaze, and she's like searching in your expression for something, and leans in, and then it goes away, and she sticks the knife right in between your ribs. From across the room, the seamstress stands. Virginia. And that makes her stop. She turns and looks back at you, Henry, but doesn't move. Like I said, we should really just talk about this. However, it appears that some of you have remained noble even in your deaths, and that, I'm afraid, will not work with what we have to do, what needs to be done. I'll give you all the opportunity to prove me wrong, and to show me exactly how much this cesspool truly deserves to survive. There are more Lupine coming. Enoch. You know that tunnel up on 22nd Street, the one that hasn't completed construction.
Of course.
You can expect them there, and she glances at a grandfather clock. just under 15 minutes.
You do know that's a reason for us not to be there in just under 15 minutes, right?
It's going to be your only opportunity to stop what's been set in motion already. I figure if Lucy, Mev, Rose, if you all are so noble as you pretend to be, this will be an easy feat for you.
Excuse me, so you mean our options are fight one Methuselah or multiple lupines? With all due respect, lady, we might be better off with you.
Darling, I don't expect you to fight me. I don't think that'll work out in your favor. However, I'm a businesswoman. This is a blip on the radar for me. Lucy. You've been claiming to be royalty here in Chicago for quite some time. How'd you like to keep your throne?
What do you have in mind?
Stop the lupines. Save Chicago. Teach young Rose here and others like her that you can in fact rise up and become a part of this great society of ours. Or stay here with me.
Rose? Tell me.
Yeah.
Are you worth putting my life on the line?
To be honest, I'm not even sure nowadays. All of this is insane. You're going through all this, hurting all these innocent people who had nothing to do with this.
There are no innocents, dear.
People can be in the bad place at a wrong time. And get into some shitty things because of that. Who are you to decide who gets to live and who gets to die from those circumstances? Because it sure doesn't seem like it should be you.
Oh, my love, but I'm not making any decisions for anyone you see. I'm merely opening the door for those that would make them.
Rose, I need you to answer my question.
What do you think? In the short couple of days that we've met each other, what do you think? Because for me...
It's only been a night. Calm down.
It's been 2 nights. We slept in a church together.
It's like one long night.
No, it feels like it's been going on for months now.
Just wait until you've been on this earth for as long as I have. Mev, you're awfully quiet. What do you think? You've been here long enough. You should know this is the right decision.
Tell me, how much do these little puppets of yours mean to you? And she'll gesture at the guards.
Well, every tool has its purpose.
Every action has its consequences. And she will do the little fast movie thing, and the one that touched Lucy is going to get a knife straight up through the bottom soft part of his jaw.
Where did you get a knife from?
I never gave my knife to the guard.
That's right, you have the fancy one that you carry around with you.
I have 2.
Okay. The man drops his hold on Lucy and immediately clutches the wound, but he doesn't make noise.
Clutches the wound. It went here all the way up through his... There's no clutching the wound if he was alive.
I mean, not anymore, there ain't. He slumps to the ground, and the blood begins to pool at his feet. I'd like everyone to roll me a hunger die for that one. Make me a check. Let's see who.
She
gets
mad. Sorry,
hunger.
everybody. Somebody please remind Kelly how to do that because I only did it once.
You take one of your hunger die and you roll it.
Yes.
And if it is a. Sorry, B Dave, what?
I'm good. He's not to my taste anyway.
If it is a.
If it is a. If the die comes up. Isn't this reversed, B Dave, where it's a failure, it's good?
You gave me
No,
the ones that have
six-
symbols instead of
six-
numbers.
Symbols
Yeah,
are good.
no, symbol is good. Any
Symbol's
symbol,
good.
well, any not a skull. A skull is
Yep,
bad. Any
no,
other
I got a
symbol is
knock.
good.
Yeah, and I got a knock.
Well, you want to know something fun that you bring up the skull.
Uh-oh.
Hey,
I mean, honestly, it's not that I wouldn't have expected that, but
Wait, does the skull, when you do a rouse check, do something different?
it's not a bestial failure. No, it's just well, I mean, it depends on what she's having us roll for, realistically. So
Realistically, I'm
not
just
innately,
seeing if
no.
you all get hungrier in the presence of a giant pool of blood at your feet.
I failed massively.
but you did just feed last night.
Yes, but you do get hungrier as you stand there. You feel a little bit more of the beast rise up within you.
Yeah, Mev would kind of look at her and say, "Sorry about that."
Henry,
Performance theater.
Yes.
you're by the door with Virginia, who appears to just sort of be somewhere else.
Did she stab me in the heart?
She got you between the ribs. But Virginia is not a particularly strong woman. She's no doctor.
Well, this may be the end for me. That hurt quite a bit, Virginia.
Oh, I can't stand to watch this.
She
on,
doesn't
dear.
respond.
After the seamstress sort of just like shoos her on, she seems to slip back into it. It's Henry, who did this to you? What's wrong? She starts applying pressure to where she's just stabbed you. Oddly enough, not a lot of blood flowing out. Really weird.
You weren't using that lung anyway, Henry.
It still hurts.
Of course it hurts.
Henry, I don't understand.
Henry, you've been compromised. Kill her.
I don't
Mev
think
does not look happy with that declaration.
Kill
I
me?
can do that.
Henry, where have you been?
Another life.
She kind of takes your face in her hands and makes you look her in the eye, which is something that you don't really want to do. Henry. Who are these people? What
Virginia,
have they done
dear.
to you?
I think it's better if you just forget.
Are you utilizing cloud memory?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's just a gap in her time right now where she doesn't remember anything for the past few minutes. But she is still kneeling right in front of you on the ground. How did I get here? What is all of this? Henry, who are these
Flee.
people?
Run, 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 run.
Okay, and she'll take a few sort of scrambled movements backwards before climbing to her feet and running out the door. No one moves to follow her.
Well, if we're dodging one suicide mission with another suicide mission, having already been on one suicide mission tonight, do you at least got some silvered knives or something? Silver bullets would be better. I don't exactly want to have a fist fight with the fucking lupine butts.
What kind of a test of your mettle would it be if I sent you with all kinds of goodies? You're a resourceful being, Enoch. I trust you.
I think you're about to find out just how resourceful I am. And by my estimation, now we got about 10 minutes instead of 15, right?
You'd better hurry.
And then turn and walk out the door.
Oh, you're muted, honey.
I look at Rose seeing Enoch running out, and I look at her and say, you better be worth it. And I grab, is there any pieces of silver of historical evidence in this whole area that's like full on silver that
Ooh, roll for crime for me. Let's see if you notice any.
Well, could I? Well, no, I'm not with her right now because I could assist because I took a good look.
crime? How do I roll for crime?
Wits and larceny.
Thank you. Oh, that's cute. That's real cute. You know, you'd think that being a little somber would have that.
You know, it sort of fits. Okay. Yeah, there's lots of silver stuff around. Tons.
Awesome. Is there any like silver candlesticks?
Yep, there's a really old looking one that's right outside of this room.
Great. I take those like in annoyance, just like
Okay.
and like walk out.
Mev, Lucy has just stormed out after Enoch.
Henry is still on the floor, or did he leave yet?
Henry, you tell me.
I mean, at this exact moment, I'm still on the floor with a knife in my ribs.
No, I think she pulled it out, didn't she? And applied pressure?
She pulled it out. Yep.
Mhm.
Oh.
She tried to save you, undead being that you are.
Yes. Fool that she is. Yes,
Henry, get up.
Right.
You're fine.
I will stand up, but with a wary eye on the seamstress and attempt to leave.
Come back and see me when you're finished.
I don't believe that I will take you up on that invitation.
I don't know that you'll have a choice, dear.
Rose, go.
No, I'd like to speak with Rose for just a moment.
We can't always get what we want, can we?
Rose, stay.
Fine.
Boudica is actually going to get up real close to the seamstress, not with the knife out or anything, and in a language that I'm sure is dead enough none of you are going to understand it, would remind her that one day she will be judged and Ammit will eat her heart, and then she will leave the room after Lucy.
Is Henry staying or Henry went? Okay. Rose.
Yes. Ma'am?
Haven't you ever wanted to make an actual difference here? In this city? For these people?
I have, ma'am.
It seems to me that if you truly wish to serve and protect, as your badge would imply, that our motives should align with one another quite nicely. I am always looking for a hand up from the long arm of the law.
You see, if it wasn't for this spectacle I just witnessed, I would be all for that. But I became an officer to protect the people who couldn't protect themselves, and what I just saw here was the exact opposite of that.
As she's holding your gaze, you're going to take on my work. And I need you to roll intelligence and resolve for me, please.
I'm going to rouse my intelligence and hopefully don't hit hunger 4. Fuck.
That couldn't possibly backfire.
I have stigmata. And at hunger 4, her eyes start bleeding. But I at least get +2 to that. And I put 4 dots into resolve. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Round. I'm gonna spend a willpower. Or
Rose, as she leans in close to you, you can see on her face the pock marks from where there used to be punctures, the burns from where the string had been pulled so tightly across her mouth. You see her skin is dry and flaking up everywhere. And her eyes have almost a sort of a mottled gray look to them, a dull sheen. Everything about this is repulsive to you. But as she says, you will take on my work. It's the truest thing in the world you've ever heard.
you know, you're right.
You should go. They're probably waiting for you.
They probably are. And she's gonna gently touch her face and just be like, and I think I see your point now. Thank you.
The 5 of you find your way back to the elevator. It's a point of order. Enoch, would you have waited for everyone else, or would you have just gone?
Gone, but I would have waited around outside the building in case they were just gonna like trap us in the elevator and set it on fire or something. Like I'd be out, but I would be waiting outside.
Well, let me cross off that note in my notebook.
It's almost like I've done this before.
The 5 of you in the elevator. It is worthy of note that as you stepped in, there was just a smear of coagulated blood on the ground. Almost a handprint, but no sign of Virginia. And as the 5 of you made it to the elevator and started your descent down to ground level, you find yourselves out front of the building. What do you do?
As soon as they come out, I say, yeah, no, fuck this, fuck her, and fuck fighting lupines. I'm leaving Chicago tonight. Anybody that wants out, I'll get out. Otherwise, I'll catch you all some other time down the road.
Ronan, you're going to leave me in the contract?
No, I'm willing to take you with me, but I am leaving, because dying in the sewers doesn't help anybody, and I should know.
What if I don't want to go?
Then I suggest you get away from the tunnels here in apparently about 8 minutes and get as far from her as you possibly can.
So you don't want to take on the lupines in order to save dear Rose here?
Rose can come with me too, and I wouldn't fight a pack of lupines to save my mother, God rest her soul. You saw what 2 of them did yesterday.
Everyone roll me wits and awareness. Three. 3. 2.
I roll
Also 3.
dice.
3.
Messy crit.
All right. Oh, man. Okay. So, all of you from where you're standing having this conversation, a little further up the street, there's the very edges of the work site for the 22nd Street sewer. So the road is blocked off. There are street lamps down there so that the men can work at night. And it's there is activity going on there. People are working. Everyone who rolled 3 and above sees in their peripheral vision that 2 of the workmen who are standing within your line of sight have paused mid-task and are transfixed with something. Rose, they're the perfect target.
So, Rose is just gonna go. Hang on a second. She's gonna put away her glasses, let down her hair a little bit. She's like, hang on a second. And she's gonna go over there and she's going to try to chat one of them up.
Does anyone follow Rose?
Is this really the time?
Okay.
Is there another sewer entrance around here?
Not around here. Most of the sewer in Chicago by this point has already been completed. It's already been repaired from the damage from the fire. This particular addition is almost complete. Basically, they're just reinforcing all of the supports and they're letting all the concrete dry and then they're going to seal it back up. Should be done in just under 2 days. I mean, no big deal.
As she starts walking across the street, I look at Lucy and I'm like,
Last call. I'm not dying here at somebody else's whim.
I am claiming my throne. So you're gonna have to be a part of it or you can run like a coward.
and then turn and walk away.
Enoch may be brilliant, but he can't move my collection in time. Plus, if I'm going to die, I might as well be with you. And she just kind of gives Lucy a side eye.
I may have outstayed my welcome here in Chicago.
Really?
Oh,
You're going to run.
It's sort of what I do.
You're...
killed that woman sooner.
Maybe you're trying to kill that woman's while he's leaving. Come on, darling. Henry. Darling.
I need a soundboard where I just have shit like that recorded. Henry, as you kind of discuss with the group how you're going to turn tail and run like Bravely Bold Sir Robin, an unearthly wail comes from one of the windows on the 14th floor. And it might not mean anything to anyone else standing out on the street.
Oh.
But from the 14th floor, a shower of golden locks begins to fall from the window.
Well.
Well, that doesn't change much.
You gotta make it through the night to get revenge.
Rose, You approach these two workmen, and as you get closer, you can hear what they're transfixed by. There's a slight rumbling coming from the worksite itself. Not the machinery, nothing man-made. It's God, it sounds like an earthquake almost. You can feel it in the ground.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, miss.
Just was wondering what all the rumbling was about. It had me nervous.
Something going on in the tunnel.
Huh. Can't really see anything from here.
Oh, this is my work site. I'm not about to go any closer. You should probably get out of here. It's really not safe.
Oh yeah, no. I live quite a bit on the other side of town. Got a little turned up around here.
Do you need an escort home? And for just like a split second, he actually glances at you rather than staring at the tunnel, and he sort of like gives you an up and down real quick.
Yeah, it's pretty cold out and alone.
Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, I would love to walk you home. I just gotta tell my supervisor that I'm taking off just a little bit early. I'm really not feeling good, if you know what I'm saying.
It's I guess I could see if someone else can take me. I mean, it's just.
Oh no! I am at your service, my lady.
Oh well, thank you.
And he takes a few steps towards the tunnel, and you can see him sort of lose his nerve halfway through that action.
She's just gonna try to get him away from like eyesight of everyone else, and she's just gonna punch him in the face and take a little nibble.
Okay.
She gotta knock him out first.
It's gonna take a minute, but you're gonna get there.
Yes.
Mev and Lucy, you have now noticed that Rose has entered the work site. What would you like to do?
I look at Mev and kind of like question, is this something that is part of your clan? In a situation that's so dire, you go flirt?
No. I have a feeling it might be a personal feeling.
Or is this some way of understanding your kindred powers?
Question, because Kelly doesn't know. What would be the ramifications of me going over there and yanking her off her food?
Well, right now she's not on her food. Right now her food is trying to get off work early. So right now there are no ramifications.
Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it?
I think it's better coming from you. But I do warn that she seemed a little bit, what's the word? Sorry, my English is
There's
not...
also the option for leaving.
Well, there's that. We could do that. Just note that she may be a little bit ravenous.
Yes, that's why I said there's the option for leaving.
And as the two of you are having this conversation, and Rose, you're with it enough to recognize what's happening right now, even though you're very hungry. In the tunnel itself, a vibration starts, and you can feel it in the soles of your feet. And soon, men are backing out of the tunnel itself and kind of looking at each other for guidance, for some explanation for what's happening.
I'm trying to think. Hunger for Death Tunnel. Hunger for Death Tunnel.
I mean, you're hungry. You
Yeah.
gotta eat something.
Yeah, she's gonna... I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. because my particular feeding style is extorting it.
You did have the one guy who was left there working when his friend went off to try and like get off work early and leave you home. So if you wanted to knock him out, you could.
Yeah, she is just gonna go. Yeah, anyway. Just give it the cold old 1-2.
There's really no convenient place for you to take him right now, but you can drag him off of like the actual work site, so you go and you're up against a building or whatever.
She's just gonna try to do this as discreetly as possible, and she's only gonna take 2 dots from him.
Okay.
So she doesn't put him in any sort of like danger condition. It's just a matter of.
As you approach, the men who had previously just been backing away from the tunnel and backing out of it, now you hear screams echoing. You see from your vantage point the last couple of supports in place to maintain the opening of this tunnel before they close it down and make it an actual sewer system. They're loose. You know you could end this.
Collapse the tunnel in on the incoming threat, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
How many workers are in there? Still?
I don't know.
It's going to feel to Mev like a very, very long moment. But Lucy, who would probably be watching her, would see her hesitate for a minute. Not even. And pull down the supports.
Lucy just stands by.
Enoch, had you already split at that point?
Yeah, I super get Henry and I'm leaving.
Okay. The two of you are making
I mean,
your
I would
way...
pull down the supports and then get my ass out of there.
Right,
I don't want to be in
course.
there.
The two of you are making your way away from the scene. Enoch knows all the best ways to get around without being noticed. Rose, as you finish up your...
I do want to find the nearest access to the sewers, though.
Okay. Rose, as you finish up your snack, you see Mev take several slow, determined paces towards the opening of this sewer. Yes, Lucy.
I'd like to note that when Mev does this and it basically approaches Lucy again, Lucy, I would like to cast shadow cast. So basically, like when Mev walks in, she walks into shadow, and we kind of like envelope together.
Okay. Mev, you approach the opening to the sewer, and in the lamplight further down the tunnel, you can see men running with fear, so much fear in their eyes. It's a look you're familiar with, but something you never really get over. And they're sprinting as fast as they can, and you watch as the few in the back seem to be taken down by a shadow with claws, is the only way to describe it, that's thundering towards the opening in the sewer.
How close are the closest ones to me?
15 feet.
How close are the supports?
They're at your feet right now.
Kelly is asking right now how breachy would it be to do the super fast thing and yank at least the couple that are closest enough to me out.
Can I interfere and basically say that Lucy's basically trying to grab Mev away from it? I have lethal body, so I'm basically
Yeah.
putting my
Yeah. I mean, she would have pulled the supports, but you know, it's almost like she sees it start and then sees them running. And
First of all,
Mhm.
Mev, I need you to make me ooh, these are not things you're good at. Make
It's
me
not.
a strength and athletics roll.
I hate you. I love you, but I hate you. So tell me how I add dice to this roll.
You can rouse, correct? And that adds 3 to the pool? 2 to the pool.
It depends on your blood potency. Most people have, in most basic games, have blood potency 1, which would be 2 dice.
I have 2.
and you can spend a willpower, correct?
To reroll.
Yeah, reroll any dice that failed.
So do I roll the rouse check first or after?
Roll the rouse check first.
Wrong dice.
And your hunger, your increased hunger, if applicable, only applies to the following roll.
That is a did not get hungry roll.
Okay.
So that is a good.
So add.
I have 2 blood potency, so is that 3 dice or 2?
Still 2. Increases by 1 for every 2 additional 2 dots. So blood potency 3 would get 3.
Here's hoping. And for once, my dice don't hate me.
How many
2.
successes? 2?
At least 2 out of the total 3 that I had.
Okay. So, a couple things happen at the same time here. Mev, you reach the support and you put your shoulder into it.
Mhm.
Just as you see these men sort of like reaching for the entrance, physically trying to extend themselves to the point where they are safe. Just as rubble starts to fall. And just as you think you want to dash in and save those 2-3 men, whoever you could really help, you feel Lucy's shadow come around you and pull you back. The opening to the tunnel begins to close, and you see there's sparks flying, and now water is running into the street, and the tremors continue to grow louder and fiercer and more intense as the tunnel collapses. Smoke starts to rise from in between the pieces of rubble. Lucy, how far back do you pull her?
Far back as I can go.
What is that, 30 feet, 50 feet?
Probably 30.
Close enough that you can hear men screaming while they are being torn apart in what remains of the tunnel. You hear the sounds of coughing. You hear screams and moans.
You see Mev drop down to the ground and cover her ears.
The earth is still shaking beneath your feet. But you've done it. Rose, you saw all of this happen. You watch Mev fall to her knees. Henry and Enoch, you all are a few blocks away at this point. You heard the collapse. You can now see the smoke pouring into the sky.
Can I get into the sewer?
You find your way to a, oh my gosh, what are they called?
Manhole cover?
Manhole.
Thank you. You find your way to a manhole cover, and you are strong enough that lifting it out of place is no issue. And you begin to descend the rungs that are there.
I just, I look at Darling and I say,
I gotta find my cousins. Underground's gonna be no place to be for the next little while.
And Henry, you nod aggressively and go to follow him. And in a moment, You're taken back to that premonition you had. And it's the same as it was before. Ash wafting through the air. A building with lupines all throughout the city. Except now, the building becomes clear. And it's for a moment as if you're seeing what's actually happening and a premonition at the same time. Ash from the construction site begins to land on your shoulders and in your hair, begins to fall all around you in the street. And the building becomes clear for the first time. It's Union Station. And as that sort of settles with you, you hear two noises in the distance. You hear a train whistle, followed immediately by a howl, joined by many voices. And that's where we're going to leave Chicago. Thank you guys. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you all for letting me tell this story. I want to give everybody the opportunity to talk about their cool stuff going on. But first, I want to say thank you to all of our raiders, to all the people who gifted subs, to the bits, to you guys for just hanging out, to all of you for playing with me in this game. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to try out storytelling. I love you all. Period. End of story. Eternally. And in case it wasn't clear, this is obviously not the end of this story in Chicago. This is merely the end of our first installment of Ash and Ruin, which will follow the, I don't want to say adventures, but the misdeeds of the seamstress and this cataclysmic introduction to the supernatural environment that is Chicago. Kelly, who are you? Where can people find you?
What? Oh, I'm Kelly, mostly known as the Opera Geek. You can find me tomorrow night playing with two amazing people named Diana and Justice on Rime of the Frost Maiden on Wandering DM. Also with my husband, which is hilarious. In fairness, the last episode only just ended with me finding my previous dead body, my husband, a fallen Aasimar, failing his own wisdom check and burning down the town speaker's house. Everything's fine.
So all aces there.
All aces. Y'all
All
were
aces.
just standing out on the street corner preaching. So, I mean, you're fine. And then you can find me every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern as Odessa the Gunslinger on Let's Get Wild Mount over on twitch.tv/criticalbard or twitch.tv/DND.
Justice Hughes.
That's me. Hi. I'm one half of the team here at Bard and Barbarian, and you can find me. Oh, I get a break. I don't. No, 4 days this week. Yeah. We have our brand new show, Outbreak Undead, starting on Tuesday, Dread Rising. I kind of know how to play. We'll figure
It'll
that.
be fine.
Yeah, we'll figure it out as we go.
Outbreak's a whole thing. So if you need help, let me know.
You know we do. You know
Yeah,
we always do, BT.
I've been hitting up Jake. It's a challenge. I think I at least have enough to get us started. We'll see where we can go from there. But I'm excited about it. We're starting with Z-Day 1, so it's going to be a whole chaotic summer up in here. And then Tuesday, Thursday mornings, we're back with What If and our morning show. And Monday over on Wandering DM, Wednesday on Like Seven Spoons, and stay tuned for more exciting Friday action coming soon.
Justice is literally the most lovable character ever on Monday. You
It's
really
true.
need
Etton's
to come.
adorable. We love him.
Etton's absolutely adorable.
Hello.
Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Sealight. This has been an immense pleasure for playing for these wonderful, wonderful episodes. You can find me pretty much everywhere at Michelle Sealight. The C stands for Crystal. And with this wrapping up, that's the end of like this quarter's games for me.
Well, we don't know. I mean, Rose did take a command from
Rose took
a very
a lot of
old,
stuff.
very angry vampire, so she
but
might be back.
But I'll be streaming on Twitch playing video games, so just follow me on Twitter and I'll always post when I'm doing stuff. But yeah, I love all of you guys so much and this has been an amazing honor.
B. Dave Walters.
B. Dave Walters, I say words about things. I'm somewhere doing something almost 7 days a week. But there's Idle Champions, Champions of Lore, Mondays at 11 a.m. On Idle Champions Twitch, and Black Dice Society, Thursday at 4 Pacific. Episode 3 is coming up on D&D Twitch and YouTube, so you can catch the VODs of Session 0.5 and 1 and 2. Be caught up. Take the ride with us into the mist on Thursday. And thank you so very much, Diana.
Miss Cynthia.
Hello, I'm Cynthia Marie. Jeepers, I normally have just as much as everyone else is going on, but I've decided to take a mental health break. Yes! So I am coming up on a couple of things. I am going to be starting up with my Siren Sisters yet again, season 4. We're going to be starting it on Fridays on Gilding Light, so twitch.tv/Gilding Light. It is Sirens, I believe, Adventure to Salvada, something to that effect. Otherwise, I have a podcast that I do every other Thursday called Life Action Roleplay, where we talk about role-playing tips and other tricks of the trade. We have some really epic episodes that we've done in the past, so if you haven't heard it, go check out All Things Podcast. We're pretty much on everything that you can find there. Really excited to work that podcast. But other than that, I really am taking my own time off. I do have projects that I will put out on social medias. So Instagram, Cynthia__Marie, or Twitter at Syndancer. This has been an honor. Diana, you are an incredible storyteller. Thank you so much for putting this together. And I could not be more honored to work with all of these individuals.
Thank you guys. Thank you all. Seriously, you are perfect, and I'm so glad that we did this. So for our next installment, we're going to be rejoining some of this cast with some new additions in about 10 years in the future. So World War II era Chicago will be joining everyone for some more shenanigans. Thank you all for joining and watching. Come hang out for other stuff. We do all kinds of RPGs on this channel. We're going to be doing some neat things over the next month, including the new Outbreak Undead game, but also a couple of one-shots and things like that. I've been your storyteller this evening. My name is Diana D'Amico. You can find me on Twitter at D'AmicoDiana. If you're looking for any of these beautiful people, their information is right down there somewhere. There's a little thing with everybody's info. You guys are great. You're perfect. I can't wait to jump back into this and to do more. I love you all, and have a great night, guys. Go play some games. Roll some dice. We love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.